The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which is the sequel to Tom Sawyer, is about a boy and a slave. The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, which is the sequel to Tom Sawyer, is about a boy and a slave in the bastion of racial tolerance known as pre-Civil War Missouri. Considering that Missouri today isn't big on minorities, it was an uphill battle. Huckleberry Finn lives in the custody of Miss Watson and Miss Douglas until his drunk and abusive father Pap returns. Pap beats up Huck and keeps him locked in a shed in what I call old school parenting. One night, Huck fakes his own death by smearing animal blood around the shed and hopefully removing the animal's body. He escapes to an island on the Mississippi where he encounters Miss Watson's runaway slave, Jim. Jim fled because his family of slaves was recently sold to a distant plantation. White people really screwed up on that one. Jim and Huck live together on the island, like Castaway, but the volleyball's a slave. They find an abandoned raft and even a house floating down the river, probably because it was made by IKEA. Jim enters the floating house, sees a dead man inside, not to be confused with animal blood everywhere, and won't let Huck enter. To get the latest news, Huck disguises himself as a girl and sneaks into town, infuriating readers who find this sexy. He learns there's a $300 reward for Jim, who everyone thinks killed Huck. Huck faces a moral question. Should he save his only friend looking for his family, or follow the Bible and sell the guy into slavery for $300? A tough choice for Midwestern Americans, even back then. He returns to the raft and Jim and Huck set off along the river. One night a boat slams into the raft and Huck is thrown into the water. He's rescued by a rich southern family, the Grangerfords, who are locked in a blood feud with rival rich family, the Shepherdsons. When one of the Shepherdson boys sleeps with a Grangerford girl, or Shepherdsons' flock, both families go to war. Everybody dies in a spectacular and elaborate bloodbath to show that rich people are crazy too. Huck narrowly escapes and reunites with Jim on the raft. They continue along the Mississippi and encounter two con artists who claim royal descent, the Duke and the Dauphin. They pull scams in different towns, like putting on a crappy play and charging too much money, also known as a 3D movie. The Duke and Dauphin impersonate the brothers of a rich dead guy and sell all his property in the original Weekend at Bernie's. Huck falls for the dead guy's daughter, what I like to call shepherding the... never mind. He thwarts the Duke and Dauphin by hiding the inheritance money in the coffin. The real brothers return and chaos ensues. The coffin is dug up yet again, really letting the dead guy rest in peace, and all the guys have to go on the run again. The Duke and Dauphin sell Jim to a nearby family for the reward money. Huck is infuriated and resolves to save his friend. Jim is being held by the Phelps, who, by an amazing coincidence that just so happens to be really convenient for the story, are Tom Sawyer's aunt and uncle. Tom shows up and decides to help, not because he likes black people, but because rescuing Jim will be an adventure. Huck disguises himself as Tom, and Tom poses as his brother to fool this super attentive aunt and uncle. Apparently Lady Huck was too much of a turn-on. Huck comes up with a simple plan to free Jim, but Tom prefers an elaborate, risky, and dangerous escape that'll be way more exciting. They nearly pull it off, but Tom is shot in the leg during the chase. Jim could keep running to freedom, but instead he remains with Tom to make sure he's okay. Jim is captured and returned to the Phelps. Tom recovers just to tell everyone that Jim's owner, Miss Watson, actually died 2 months earlier and Jim was free all along. Tom kept quiet because he wanted to stage an elaborate rescue, and you thought the endings of Vin Diesel movies were dumb. Jim tells Huck that the dead man in the floating IKEA house was Huck's father, Pap. Jim is free and goes to university in Canada to learn 40 words for snow. Huck goes west, and the book ends.